This has Carolina Panthers fans very concerned. Two starters beginning training camp on the non-football injury list. One looks to make a quick comeback, while the other could miss the start of the season, looking for the next man to step up. What's going on, guys? It is Tanner Blue with Carolina Panthers Digest Media. Hope you're doing well. As always, here to talk Carolina Panthers football with you every single day. Before we get started, guys, as usual, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. We're growing at a great rate so far. I think we've had over 150 subscribers. Everybody really seems to be enjoying the videos, so thank you guys so much for participating and sharing and liking the videos. Really means a lot, and let's continue to grow this community as we talk Carolina Panthers football. Unfortunately, two bits of not so good news today coming out of Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers news as we head into training camp. Two starters, Taylor Moton at right tackle and Jaycee Horn at cornerback, on the non-football injury list to begin this season. Guys, let's take a look at this article here that was on Panthers.com by Darren Gant, one of the reporters over there for the Carolina Panthers. Beginning of the article basically states that two Panthers will start the season on the non-football injury list. So, what does that mean? Here we go. Let's dive into the article. The Panthers will be without a pair of veterans starting at the beginning of camp because of recent medical diagnosis. Cornerback Jaycee Horn and right tackle Taylor Moton will be placed on the reserve non-football injury list this week. Horn suffered a cut on his foot while running that required stitches, and he's expected to return early during camp. During his absence, the Panthers will have veteran starter Mike Jackson and a number of young options, including fourth-round rookie Will Lee, Corey Thornton, and Shaw Smith-Wade. So that is the good news starting out about this, is that we have Jaycee Horn, obviously not severely injured here. Looks like it's just going to be some minor stitches he got on his foot while cutting. Thank goodness, because we've had the injury bug with Jaycee Horn before. Looks like this is very minor, and he will be back soon. The only positive about this I can see at the moment is for the short time he's out, this is going to give some reps to Will Lee and Corey Thornton and Shaw Smith-Wade, some of those younger guys, so they can start to try to get a few reps there, learn from a veteran like Mike Jackson, who had an outstanding year last year. So really hope he can continue to grow. So luckily, Jaycee Horn will not be out long. That is the good news. The bad news is the next part, and we're talking about Taylor Moton here, the veteran right tackle for the Carolina Panthers. Not so good news, unfortunately. Let's take a look as the article continues. Moton's situation will take longer to resolve. He was diagnosed with a blood clot in his lung in late June. He was immediately placed on blood thinners and is responding well to treatment and is being assessed by the team's medical staff daily. The treatment will cause him to miss regular season time, and he's expected to return during the season. The Panthers signed veteran left tackle Rasheed Walker in free agency as cover for the injured Ika Mekwonu and used their first-round pick on Georgia tackle Monroe Freeling. So first off, before we continue, obviously best wishes for Taylor Moton. A blood clot, that's nothing to joke about. Really hope that he's able to continue to respond well to his treatment and things go well. Life is bigger than football, and really hope that he continues to respond to treatment, because that is a serious issue. Obviously, we want to see him back with the football team, but his health matters most. But from a football perspective, this is tough because Taylor Moton's been on this team for quite a while now. Guys kind of in the twilight of his career almost. And he's been a veteran on this team. He's been the one real consistent starter on the Panthers offensive line for the past 10 years, I believe, so it seems. There's been a lot of changes, not a lot of good changes in the beginning of his career, but he stuck it out, and he's stuck with the team, and he's a veteran, a guy that a lot of people respect. And he's a good football player. He's a really good football player. He's held down the right-hand side of that offensive line for quite some time, and he's going to be sorely missed. Luckily, it seems like if all things go well, he's just going to miss, probably the early part of the season. Looks like we're going to get him back as the season continues to go on, which is great. But we want to make sure he's fully healthy, because you never know how something like this could go. Unfortunately, this does put the Panthers in a tough position with the offensive line. Taylor Moton, despite being a veteran, is a very good football player. But let's talk about two guys here that I've mentioned before in previous episodes. Rasheed Walker, and Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling, the first round pick out of Georgia, the tackle. This really gives him the opportunity to kind of go into that right tackle role. I know he's not traditionally been a right tackle as throughout his college career. I believe there were some talks in some of the article that he had played a certain amount of snaps over at Georgia when it comes to the right tackle position. He's been a swing tackle, primarily played at that left-hand side, but he has done some work on the right-hand side as well. So that is good news for the Panthers, is that this first-round pick that you drafted, a lot of people were kind of upset in the beginning. Panthers could have went safety. They could have went a skill position like wide receiver to add to the room. But unfortunately, an injury happens. But fortunately for a guy like Monroe Freeling, he's going to have the opportunity, it looks like, to kind of come in and play that position. And as we discussed earlier, you have a guy like Brady Christensen, a veteran, while coming off an injury. He's played every position on the offensive line. So he could come in right away and be able to kind of help out and help Monroe Freeling come along as a player. And then you also saw as well the Panthers bring in Rasheed Walker, a pretty solid left tackle from the Green Bay Packers, probably one of the better tackles on the left hand side, in free agency, who's going to be on the left hand side of things. So while the injury is unfortunate to Taylor Moton, this is why you continue to invest in your offensive line. It is obviously unfortunate to see Jaycee and Taylor Moton, not going to be at the start of training camp. Luckily, they are veterans. They should be up to speed. They should be good to go whenever things come back. Let's just hope the injury bug does not continue to plague the rest of the team. Injuries are going to happen, but let's hope the Panthers can stay relatively healthy during training camp, and things will continue to progress for both guys. Obviously, want to make sure Jaycee Horn can get this foot issue taken care of. I'm sure it looks like it's just going to be a minor thing, which is good. But Taylor Moton, really wishing him and his family the best. Blood clots is a serious issue, so want to make sure we get that resolved before he comes back and takes the field. So obviously not what Panthers fans want to see as we go into training camp this week, as things are getting ready to kick off. But you do have depth there. You have guys that you brought in free agency and in the draft, and this is why you always prepare for situations like this, because you never know what can happen. Injuries do happen in the NFL, and it looks like the Panthers are going to have the next man up mentality, and it looks like they've got some guys there that should be able to rise to the occasion. So obviously we'll keep you up to date with any rumors and updates that come out with the two injuries. Hopefully both guys are able to make a return at full strength and continue to help the Carolina Panthers. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really looking forward to continue talking Panthers football with you. Hopefully have some good updates coming soon. And just wishing the best for Jaycee Horn and Taylor Moton. Keep pounding. We'll see you guys on the next one.